So today we got our little Mabco mule engine here, and I've always been curious when a timing chain wears how many degrees that retards the valve timing. So obviously as you get slack in your timing chain, it's going to effectively retard your cam timing here. So we've already degreed this engine up with a brand new timing chain, and it calls for, I guess, as an intake center line of 108 degrees, and this camshaft degreed up at 106 degrees. So I've always worked off the premise that if we're 2 degrees advanced at the beginning, you know, that's okay, because as that timing chain wears, it's going to get more and more retarded. So today we have this used unit. We're going to throw it on there and see just how bad it is. Now this timing chain set, which is a Cloy's true roller unit, it's the budget version of that guy. But anyway, it was on our little solid lifter 289, and you know, I ran it for a while, and after time it just started to perform differently, and I tracked it down to the timing chain. I switched the timing chain, the power came right back. Now this is going to be a pretty quick video, not necessarily a how-to. We're not going to go really in depth with the camshaft degree process, but I've recently put a video together step by step on how to properly degree your camshaft and how to go through that process, which I'll leave the link below here. But for now, let's get this Cloy's true roller unit thrown on here and see what happens. Now before I remove this guy, I did turn the crank here so that our timing marks are aligned, so we shouldn't have to do anything too crazy. We should be able to pull this one off and throw that old one right back on there nice and easy. So there we go. Alright, so again, we got everything lined up here. We're using the 0 degree advance or retard keyway, or as people say, installing the timing set straight up. So see if we can get this guy on there. Alright, so there we are, all installed. And just to give you a reference point, this is the amount of chain slop we had, where our new timing set didn't have any at all. So should be interesting to see. So there we go, we went through and degreed the camshaft all up with our worn timing chain, and what we saw in this guy, and I went through a couple times just to verify, so our actual reading was 110 degrees, and what we were looking for was an intake center line of 108 degrees. Now when I did this, when I degreed this cam with a new timing chain, I got actually 106 degrees, which is 2 degrees advanced. If you think of you know, in a 360 degree spectrum, so a smaller number is advanced, where a larger number over what we're looking for is actually a late timing, or it's retarded. So in this case we had 108 degrees on our card, and the actual reading we got here was 110 degrees, so it is 2 degrees retarded on this guy. And the next thing I went ahead and checked was our duration at 50 thousandths lift here. So on our cam card we should have saw, or I guess we saw 216, or excuse me, on our cam card we have 216, and our actual is 221.5 degrees or so. And with our card being 216, that's about 5.5 degrees retarded. So as you see, that the timing chain does play a factor in this, and as it wears, you know, you're going to have late valve timing going forward, and that's why when you have excessive play in your timing chain, you know, your engine seems to lose power. You're bleeding off a lot of compression, and you know, the later your valve timing is, you're moving your power band higher up into your RPM range, and you know, you just lose a lot of bottom end with that. So but usually I'm okay with being a couple degrees advanced, because as you saw, as the timing chain wears, and on a street engine, you know, you go a long time without necessarily rebuilding the engine. So as the timing chain wears, you know, it's going to take up some of that timing, and it's going to get later. So with that, I'm going to put our other timing set back on this engine. I'm happy with that. And anytime you install a new cam, you need to go ahead and do piston to valve clearance. So you know, maybe we'll make a video on that, maybe not, I'm not sure moving forward, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So our little test mule Mabco short block, we're just going to throw in something and beat the heck out of it, and you know, see how well Mabco puts together their engines. So I actually pulled this one apart when I got it, this short block, and made a review. I'll drop that below too in case you're interested. It's like the cheapest place to get rebuilt short blocks from, and so far it's looking pretty good. So anyway, moving forward, but that's pretty much it.